throwing out bullets here downrange. You've got great high ground, great understanding of where everyone is. Ooh, Frozen. He's been drawn into a fair few fights today that he's looked so confident in. And seeing Frozen playing with confidence is really fun to watch because you know he's a bit of a one-man army. You know that he can take these fights and single-handedly win them pretty confidently when he is playing his best. And the fact that he's instigating a lot of these, looking to just try and pick up elims where possible off the skin of his own back, and his team's giving him the extra range to do so, bodes well. It makes me think they're all feeling pretty confident individually. That might have been an air of overconfidence though. Gladiators on a scouting mission have been skewered. Duxan have engaged onto them, found the first knock. Matic has to get haphazard with the automatic because he sprays back some bullets. Yeah, tag sure, but not actually finding any frags out of it. Driving and healing, that's illegal, but he will pull it off and get himself back in the zone. So Hoxie being able to maintain good movement here as well and get ahead of Gladiators. This has worked out pretty well from on the rotate unless they get mowed down. Meku on the hillside flank. They thought their bad days were over. They thought it was safe to go back into the water, but Meku is there.
Yeah, Meku's been having some really good off angles this tournament so far, and being able to pick up some of these eliminations despite losing one player will be really, really nice for the points totals. They desperately need them on board at this point in time, so I think Meku will be fairly happy with this one. Finished off a couple more as well. Hoxie and Zipian go down, so 3 eliminations for their troubles losing Tixi. It's decent, but you can see DXavier off in the distance there, down towards their south side. They'll be continuing to cause them problems in towards the future, and it's Alter Ego take the fight to Mad Bulls, who just have had a bit of a struggle so far.
How far is this struggle going to go, though? Will this be struggle street for them? Or is it just the struggle bus that potentially they can hop off at the next stop? They do go for the getaway mission. Seems like retreat is better right now. So they try and back away. Oh, look at this. Matic getting an understanding of where exactly Quest is situated. Quest in a vehicle graveyard at the minute. Just smoke and burn tires all around them. And now they're getting smoked a bit more literally as Levi's lurking on the hillside hits them with a big surprise. Kante's gone down. This is not looking good for Quest. They jump in the minivan, trying to go full Scooby-Doo and get out of there, see if they can find some clues about where they can stay alive, Blank. But their days are numbered, surely.
Yeah, I think for Quest, they bit off a little bit more that they could chew in that situation. They took shots over towards Gladiators as well. They were able to finish off one of them at least, but it's opened them now up to this fire coming through from DX also. And looking at the lay of the land where they have to move uphill here, it's going to be really tough to deal with. Mad Bulls managed to get away with that one. Yes, they took a fair bit of damage. 2 players still left alive though down towards the south side of the map, but it's Reject once again able to pick themselves a nice central spot towards this circle, flanked by FaZe on the side, but definitely a good chance in this game. But it's nice to see Alter Ego as well actually taking it to task with currently the top squad in the lobby, which is Mad Bulls.
Definitely seeing a shift in the power rankings here in terms of the way the teams are looking. Definitely feeling like there's a lot more confidence to fight, bringing down some of the walls that were put up on the back-to-back Erangels. Different stories here. Miramar always delivers something a little bit different. Grenade-based combat seems to be the play here. It's like a game of badminton, as those nades will go flying. Lamborghini wants to make this one look like a shuttlecock, sends it out as it will whiz on by and be miles off target. Wind must have caught that one.
Yeah, I mean, you always got to blame the wind at the end of the day in that situation. Junie, though, can't really escape the bullets that come whizzing at him. I mean, those have got a pretty direct trajectory on those bad boys. Quest attempts to try and get involved to maybe open themselves up a little bit of an avenue of approach versus DX whilst they were slightly distracted by the final player coming through from Duxam. More shots coming through from Nigma Galaxy, though. Over towards Alter Ego, off in the distance. Currently taking a 2-2 split. Also holding out MBE Sports as well as Nigma Galaxy. But I imagine at this point in time, Otka as well as Rosemary want to regroup with Fnatic and Alva over on this western side. If they can get out of there, that is.
Can they even stay alive and keep themselves in a position to fight? Inko here, ooh, hefty connection with the nades. I mean, you're still standing. You're still alive and in the fight. Barely. As Squash, he must have taken a ton of damage from the shrapnel on that. Melise, though, so heavily focused on the team in front of them, don't realize they're being backstabbed as You Do Alliance come in, swing the scythe, and take Melise out of the equation. Quick heal in the vehicle, quick reset, and then set their focus on getting out of here. They don't like the chances of the engagement versus Inco. They're happy with the points that they stole from that one, and instead focus on calming it down, going off to a better position and playing the longevity on this one. Love to see that from the You Do Alliance. Actually really starting to play some great PUBG Mobile over the course of the day, Blank. It's felt like the longer we've seen them going, the more they've looked confident, the more they've warmed up into the day, and it really feels like they're hitting a bit of a stride now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great read from You Do Alliance as well, because they sense that that fight is very, very clean. Yeah, they were able to pick up the eliminations off the back of it and steal some away, but they know that Inco is fully ready and up for a fight. So eliminations off the back of it, let's not even take it. We have a strong position down towards this southeast side, which we can continue to manage. So we'll just leave this alone. We'll pick up those steals and play off the back of this one. Iftar comes up against Nick McGalaxy. There is a switch out from the side, and he has to be quick on the trigger here to try and take him down. Does a huge amount of damage, but takes a lot himself.
Damage dealer. Ooh, not ideal on the getaway, though. Last minute connection sweeps the legs out from underneath him as he'll tumble down the hillside. AE versus DX as well as Alter Ego thrown into a fight they probably don't want to be involved in. Inco might have got away from the jaws of defeat previously, but they've run into the big beasts of Evos, armed with some rather large guns as well. And they're closing in. Ooh, a late reaction, but a reaction that will be reverberated through Inco nonetheless, as they get shocked by the LMG, drop down to their last legs, only one man surviving, but the vital signs are good for him. He's at least being able to inflict some damage back onto Evos, and he might have bought just enough time to close the gap. It's a large rotate for him, low on HP as well, has to play the numbers game, stops for the heal. Spec is there, armed with a nade. Everyone's on top of one of another now, Blank, so any moves you make, any chance you reveal yourself, it's about 3 different squads that could engage off of the contact.
Yeah, it's really grim terrain at this point in time where you're just pushing through team after team and the line of sights just aren't there, so you're almost always going to be running into a different squad that you might not have scouted out earlier, which is why the You Do Alliance are just trying to take control of this valley as much as possible, where they have a lot of the info to themselves to play off the back of. Procedure Evos likely to go down shortly. Misery just able to back off away from that grenade as it explodes up in his face. Luxie drops behind, but it's a tall task ahead of them to deal with the remaining members here from You Do Alliance.
You Do Alliance, well, we do damage is what they're saying as they're pulling no punches. The shotgun cleaves its way through them as the first shots will land dead on target. Misery, he's got a big old gun and he's been slick with it so far. 60 bullets remaining in the magazine, only needs 5 to deal with the first man. Nade over the back, tries to reposition, but too little too late as his compound gets detonated and he's down and out. Star wants to ascend to the heavens on this one though. Nade in through the window. That's a Molotov burning off the angle and making it far harder for You Do to control this compound. He's got the smoke in as well, but it's actually just opened the back door for Spec. He's found the engagement, got a few pot shots off, and kind of fragmented this setup now from You Do. If Star keeps aggressing on this, Blank, there's room for the actual elims to go his way. He could definitely third party on this cleanly right now.
Yeah, it's a potential chance for them as well. FaZe are also looking down this way in the meantime, see if they can get a quick sniff of this one, but it is Star and Spec looking to finish out this fight, and I love the fact they went into this with the 2 players. Cluck is there though on the side with the shoddy, and now just 1 player remains in Spec, who has a lot to account for here.
Spec, what can he do, man? How far can he take this? He's all around them. They're starting to look down the hill, and finally they will spot the head as Flax will slay him. And they are out of the runnings. Losing an awful lot of our teams now as we're whittling our way through them quite quickly down towards stage 6. Not too many left, and a smaller circle to contain everyone as well. So more fights in a more frequent manner going to start developing here on this one. Reject Tokyo set up inside of a compound, though, sitting pretty at least. Haven't really had to fight too many big battles inside of this one. They have 3 eliminations to their name so far, and they're just waiting for a battle to come to them. The current clash, though, is focused on Quest. I say Quest, it was just easy, and now he's gone.
Yeah, I think for Quest now, we can pretty much say that they're done and dusted. It's not likely they'll be getting into this last chance. So I think that was our last bit adieu to that team. I think they've done very well to get here, but that's probably good night to them at this point in time. Enigma Galaxy trying to get further into this match have had a bit of a struggle day over the last 5 matches, but this one looks a little bit better with 4 players still left alive, you know, 4 eliminations as well. This is a good start, at least something. And this is probably one of the most even and scary lobbies to finish a game off. We've got 3 teams, 4 teams. How many teams are 5 teams with 4 players left alive? It is going to be all-out warfare as we move into stage 7. This is going to really tighten up, and teams will be forced to fight one another. FaZe has got a really, really big task ahead of them as well, because it's going to be a lot of different teams that they're currently having to manage. Everyone understands how strong this high ground currently is, and FaZe doesn't want to give it up. I think they would have hoped that more teams would have gone down at this point in time. But again, this was a match where they had a nice central position. It's one where I wanted to see more of their players make it to the end game and get a big chunky win off the back of it. But by no means is this an easy test at all. We've brought out the hard papers for this one.
Big point score, but an awful lot of risk taking is what's going to be coming up in the next couple moments then. No easy ones, no freebies this late in the survival stage. It only gets harder. There's only more pressure on you. And we'll see how well our teams can deal with that as well, because that's the human element of it. PUBG Mobile here in such a big tournament, the most prestigious of the year with PMGC, you really start to feel the reverberations in every play you make. A single mistake is the difference between your legacy and PUBG Mobile. So what have they got for us? Hedging further forward. Lufa on the flank towards the backside. Closing in on FaZe. You get the Alliance POV here. They push up towards the center camp, looking for control of the shed, trying to gain some high ground to play with. Ooh, nades right on target. The Molotov burning brightly. They're trapped behind the rock. Flax is already down. Quick peek from the second. Ventores should be able to close his way through them. Wants to get vicious. An assault here, looking to punish. Parajin, meanwhile, sees the rotation from NBE and detonates their wheels. So they're not getting anywhere quickly.
Yeah, for MBE, this is a really important game for themselves, alongside with Enigma Galaxy, who lose Ralph off the bat there, as U2 Alliance are dealing both with FaZe and Enigma Galaxy at the same time, but they are dwindling now. Forces really losing at an alarming rate. Flax comes over the top side with the DBS, finds at least one, but he just has to spray the DBS, doesn't have enough time to pull out his M4 there, but it will be Enigma Galaxy staying alive there with the 3 players, but 9 eliminations for U2 Alliance. They'll be pretty pleased with that one, but going down in 6th place will not give them that many placement points, and that's the difficulty at this stage in the game with so many teams still remaining in. In the meantime, Reject are pushing in so quickly over towards this position, swiftly taking control. They haven't lost any players as of yet, and Lufa's on the top floor will drop back down again towards the garage side as they slowly pick apart the guys from FaZe.
Reject. They want to gain control of this compound. They want to take it for themselves, deal with the inhabitants that are there currently. And right now, Lufa strikes on the first, cleans the man up, taking them out of commission and keeping the pressure on FaZe. FaZe that are starting to rebuild, reset, getting the res off so they can play together. Attention focus on the man outside, but it's the people in the building that you need to be worried about. Drop down connection. Lufa tried to go for a hell of a play, but he's been slain. Mela replying back with a shotty as well. Good for 2 blank. Could have made that uncomfortable.
Mate, Mela has been an absolute firecracker of a player so far. Some unbelievable plays coming through. You know, as soon as he starts tapping that trigger at the speed at which he does and starts quick flicking towards these players, it could be a 1v3 no matter the situation. But luckily for Reject, they get out of there with 3 players left alive. Not an ideal scenario, but pretty good, all things considered. NBE taking a lot of damage to Enigma Galaxy, two teams that really do not want to go out early here. In the meantime, Reject looking to stamp their ticket through to the last chance stage. What a nade over the top there. Luckily, Sarah just about lives it, knows he has to move away. Duello's down, one player remaining now for Reject.
This is all crumbling. It's all falling to pieces quite quickly. The dream for the Japanese side that they'd be able to revitalize themselves in the last 2 games of the day, be able to show up when it matters most, is quickly falling away from them. But maybe a window of opportunity, timing and attention taking off of them as you've got DX roaming in, putting the pressure on the aggravating squad that has been fighting from the top of the hill, giving Rejects at least a moment to breathe. But it's just Sarah. It's just one man with a big set of guns inside and outside of the lobby as he starts to scuttle his way around the shelf, looking for a peek up onto DX. Meanwhile, Freak aggresses downhill, puts the shots into MBEs and keeps the pressure on them. Blank Sek as well taking damage. MBEs are going to expire quite quickly if this keeps up, and we're getting closer and closer to deciding who takes the chicken dinner here on Miramar.
Huge chicken dinner required here for Enigma Galaxy to keep themselves in the running going forward, and Freak finds the last player coming through from MBE and Akaze. Coops looks down towards Sarah, drops a Molotov, will reposition him, and Lamborghini would have spotted him if it wasn't for Lord, who makes it up towards 12 eliminations. DX, the only thing standing between them and a 25-point game now. Only one nade, one Molotov, a whole bunch of utility on the side of DX, and it would be a miracle run now for Enigma Galaxy to finish this one out with the chicken dinner in tow.
Now don't forget DX's nades. They are so damn good, and this is why. They've got so many of them to use. Their comms for the timing on double nades is normally pretty picture perfect, and right now they are blowing Lord to pieces with it. You've got a nice knockoff onto Freak, looking to aggress the close on the damage done to Lord already. The shotgun's pulled out. Coops, he goes down for keeps, as that one's going to be DX snatching away the chicken dinner and securing themselves the opening win here on Miramar.
I mean, DX Xavier has been a team that we've not talked about too often, but they have just been really good today. Honestly, the amount of times we see them in the top 5 is sort of flabbergasting, honestly. I've been really impressed with this team, and that's coming from a guy that didn't really enjoy their playstyle back in the day about a year ago, and I think that quite comfortably I can say this is a very strong team, if not one of the strongest teams, that has a great chance to get towards the PMGC Grand Finals after this. I mean, some of their control has been marvelous, and like you said, those nades are just picture perfect.
Man, one of the things that always seems to ring true with DX is exactly that, just how well they use their utility. Blank. They're never really caught off guard in a position where, you know, they're low ammunition. Always feels like they're so stocked on rounds, so stocked on utility that they need, and they use it smartly. It's not a matter of, you know, we get to the final circle, all of a sudden they throw all their smoke saying, we've got to use our nades. They use them calculated, they use them efficiently. Offensive utility is used to open up fights or close down fights. They're not just thrown carelessly into the wind. We get the stats highlight here as well off the back of the chicken dinner for DX, and fair play to him. You know, I completely agree with you. I think that's a deserved win, and one of those where it shows that DX do have a lot of talent. We're seeing more of it now, especially as the day's gone on. Blank, it feels like they're looking more like themselves.
Yeah, it's a strong like 3.6k damage game on that one, and everyone's doing fairly similar damage across the board from DX Xavier, so no one's really slacking, no one's really dragging their feet either. I think for DX Xavier, it's just been wonderful to watch them during this entire tournament.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. It's been fun to see the level of lethality that they have been pulling out. That was an explosive game of Miramar, though. So whilst me and Blank clean up the dust with our little dustpans, let's head back over to a nice clean desk with Jason Kaplan.
Well, you have to get that dustpan from me because I've been using it here on the desk to keep it squeaky clean, as DX Xavier keeping that match squeaky clean themselves, getting themselves even further up in the leaderboards. And obviously we could talk a lot about DX Xavier here, but the fact is they're a team that's already now solidified into the last chance qualifier kicking off in just 2 days of time. I think our focus is maybe more towards a team like Enigma Galaxy, Maximum.
Yep, exactly. They needed to get himself a big game here, Jason, if they wanted to push themselves up into a top 16 position, which this game is exactly what they did. Because, guess what? They did not lose a player in the first 2 minutes of this match, so instantly that's going to increase your odds of being able to get a good game on board. And I think, Kalash, when you're looking at this game, we have positions like what FaZe were doing, maybe a little bit too split, making himself very vulnerable to Nigma Galaxy to then take what I think was possibly a game-winning position. So Nigma Galaxy saw an opportunity, saw a weakness in their armor, and struck right where they needed to.
Yeah, FaZe really was not warm in this game at all. You might have had the circle come your way, you might have had a decent position, but you needed to regroup earlier. You needed to be taking decisions a bit more speedy with that regrouping, and that never occurred. So other teams around it exploited them, like as you said, Nigma Galaxy. But Xavier shows in this lobby that you don't always have to be playing center. They could play edge, they can be able to sweep it. I don't think they've been the most flashy team across these 2 days of gameplay, but they've certainly secured themselves a spot in that last chance qualifier, and as Blank says, they have a great shot at getting to the finals.
Yeah, Xavier clearly are a team that now look at that first place. They just overtook Mad Bulls and Influence Rage throughout today. So really strong performance from these guys. And one thing that stands out to me for Xavier is they are really good at reading the circle, in my opinion. They know how teams drop. They know how teams rotate and respond to specific circles, specific scenarios. And off the back of that, they can get the path of least resistance in every one of these situations where they can reach the late game. And if they have a good situation later on down the line, they can gun for those wins, as we just witnessed here on this Miramar. So sure, as you said, Kalaris, not flashy, sure, but they are getting consistent points to be able to compete for that first place.
Well, then let me throw this your way, Kalaris. Xavier in first place. Are they a first place team?
Out of all of this, no, because Influence Range is the first place team. They've played 6 games, and all of the teams around them have played 11, and they're still in 3rd place. So I'm going to stick with the Brazilians for now, Jason.
Well, that's the point I'm getting at, is that Xavier, yes, they're currently sitting in first place, albeit having 5 more matches than Influence Rage. But the fact is, for me, this isn't a team that's going to be a CCT. This isn't a team right now that's going to win the Global Championship Grand Finals in Turkey. And what the question is, what do they need to do to improve to potentially take home that trophy, or what can they do to take home the trophy?
Kind of what I was saying before about them not being the flashiest of teams. Sometimes when you want to be a CCT, you got to be a bit flashy, right? You got to go out and get those 15, 16, 17, 18 limb chicken dinners. And right now, I mean, this has been so far their biggest game when it comes to across these 2 days, but their previous victory, 6 limbs, right? Like, they know how to, as Max said, get to those circles, but they're not, you know, bombastic. They're not just blasting everything out of control. They're just, you know, easing in.
Paragon is clearly, for me, the top frag of the team. He's been doing really good for himself, getting strong angles for the team. I just think when you put the entirety of Xavier in a 4v4 against other squads, I would see other squads possibly come out on top more consistently than the Xavier would, right? For example, I think Mad Bulls have really good fragging power in their team. I think Influence Rage, especially, I mean, when they're going to start coming in, I think they're going to be competing for that first place. So I think that would be the aspect of the gameplay where they could improve on, which is tough to do on such a small amount of time. But when it comes to macro and the overall rotational game plan, it's hard to beat right now. I would say they have some of the best in the lobby when it comes to reaching these late game situations.
Okay, well, obviously we talked, a little bit about the top of the table, but the bottom of the table is something I'm kind of worried about. We've already I talked about Quest, who have 1 match left, currently sitting in 22nd place. But Melise, they're in 19th place with 11 matches done. If Melise want to have any sort of chance of holding on into tomorrow, they have to have an explosive final match here, but honestly, I'm not really seeing it. And then I'm even looking further up the leaderboard. The next, Ultra Ego, 10th place, 43 points. I'm not quite confident 43 points is going to be enough to keep you out of the bottom 8. But we'll see and find out as we're going to be heading to the final match here for Group Green. So we're going to send it back to our casters of Jackie and Blake.
Oh man, one last game to decide it all for today then, Blank. And we'll know how things are looking before the last day of the survival stage. It's been a great day of it, and I'm hoping that the last Miramar will deliver, because that one was already quite tasty.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great game. I mean, having that many teams in one of our final circles is just not something you see very often at all. So I'm excited to see what they can do over in this match. I think there's a lot of teams here who are really just fighting for their tournament lives, right? And I think that's one thing that is very evident from a lot of the playstyle. You can see Reject get themselves hyped up once again because they have done fairly well, right? 59 points over 11 matches with the start they had as well, Jackie. I think that that's a fairly admirable result because I think today they've really brought it back to favor. Prestige Evos as well. Loving to see the performance coming through from these guys. I worried that they just didn't have the elimination power, but currently they're at 32, just 1 point behind Reject. I think that they're doing well for themselves. And it's just been overall a great day to watch some PUBG Mobile. U2 Alliance, in fact, even really doing very well in terms of the numbers. I think they have a very good grasp on the game, and at least they're planning, right? And I think this feels like a team that's going to go into tomorrow hitting the same kind of numbers, because we did have this big trend of some teams that didn't do so well in their day one in Group Green who suddenly have turned it on for day two after making some quick adjustments on the fly, and some teams who just really gave it their all in day one and have succeeded because of it. I think you have to take those chances sometimes, and U2 Alliance has certainly done that.
I think U2 Alliance have done a great job of it, yeah, man. Like, for coming out looking like potentially they were struggling a little bit into the first game, you know, not quite being as lethal. The longer the day's gone on, the better it's looked, and just going from strength to strength, even potential, you know, for the clutch that we've been bringing up a few times, where if maybe there was a little bit more self-confidence into just instantly going for the aggression off the back of the team fight with the other two teams, there could have been a timeline where you get another chicken dinner from that as well. But they weren't worried about the past. They weren't dwelling on the ifs and buts. They played some great games following that, and it's led us to this position where they're in a pretty damn good spot, and the lobby standings are getting shaken up an awful lot. Puts us in a good position. Let's have a look at what we're dealing with then as we go into the last Miramar.
Killer playing path, to be honest with you, down towards the south side for our final match for Group Green today. I think that this is not going to be one that a lot of teams are very happy about at all. For the Gladiators, who really did have their big step up towards the start of the day, they haven't done too much after that point. Doesn't set themselves up very nicely, and now they're forced to move away from La Cobarilla. Luckily, they're quite used to playing down towards the south side of Los Leones, so should be able to work with this one just a little bit, but this does put so many teams close together in the very early stages of the game, so I'm imagining we are going to see maybe one or two teams take quite the heavy hit early on here, Jackie.
Yeah, surely there's got to be some early commotion kicking off here.
Just locking everyone in down towards that south side as well, mate. That is cruel.
Yeah, this is ooh, I don't know, man. This is not the sort of circle you'd be too happy with if you'd whipped your protractor out for that one. Okay, so yeah, I think the point being there, definitely a lot of room for carnage on this one. Quite a different game already in terms of the opening moments, at least, with the way that it's shaping up. The posturing from the teams is going to result in, like you're saying, people being on top of each other quite early. So a lot of room for infighting, a lot of room for teams to lose out in a battle of attrition quite early on this one.
Yeah, N-Hyper desperately to get some points on the board as well, because they keep coming into contact with teams early on in the game. A spray down from Star could be bad, but we've got the Rocky Rage Roaders over here who managed to get that party bus as high as I've ever seen it in the air. That's some serious airtime they got on that bad boy. Very cool cinematic moment to start off our game of the day. But yeah, I think the difficulty with this circle is that, you know, because we're locking so many teams down towards Los Leones on this south side, and the circle, the playing path being so far down towards the south as well, teams are concerned with getting into Los Leones early. Just in case this does end up being an urban finish, you want to be one of the first teams to get towards that central arena. You want to be able to hold out those central buildings too, so teams aren't as willing to go far out towards that north side because they know they're going to have to come back down again fairly shortly on the next circle. It's tough. It's going to make it so we have less loot in the pool overall, less grenades, less utility to use, more rotations, honestly just trash looting overall. So I'm scared for a lot of these teams, and teams that desperately need points at the end of the day. This is not the circle or playing path that they wanted to see. No,
yeah, definitely definitely not probably on the wish list for a lot of our teams today for the final game, right? This was, I guess if there's the bingo card, this was the one-off you were hoping you wouldn't hit, but it's come up and it's what we're dealing with, so we'll see what we get out of it and what plays are made. Having a look as well for some of our teams down towards the bottom end of things. just thinking about what we've seen from them today. Honestly, I think now with the way that it's kind of shaping up and how it's been established over the course of the day, it does feel a lot more representative of what we've seen. Melise really haven't had the greatest day of it, down in 19th place there, probably sealing the fact that you really haven't accumulated more than enough points that you'd need over the 2 play days for them. Inco as well, always room to get a little bit further up. You'd hope to see the Brazilian side get a bit of a move on. Here they're just taking damage, not what you want if you're a fan of the region, but I'm sure Influence Rage will be doing more than enough to fly the flag once they come back into rotation tomorrow.
And honestly, Influence Rage just had such a significant day yesterday, which with the way they were playing, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. Fully on board with Kalaris there, saying that, you know, that is the first place team, and I don't really think there's anyone else that's going to take away that first place spot away from them, considering, you know, Xavier, Mad Bulls, 90 points, 93 points at the end of the day. Last day for them to accumulate points as well, with Influence Rage being, what was it, I think 77 points into their points total overall. They're not far behind of what is 2 days of play occurring in just 1 day for Influence Rage. Enigma Galaxy, that was a really, really good result from that last match. And it was a strong performance as well, with a lot of eliminations found for themselves, despite that they're still in 16th place with 28 points. So even with a big game like that, when Enigma Galaxy's still got to toil away at these points totals and get the pickaxe out and start hitting these amazing veins full of elimination points and placement points total, because their job's not done yet. And although that was a strong game for them, it's one of the only strong games we've seen from them today. But again, I think for a lot of teams, they're in real difficulty hours for themselves. And again, all we can do is just watch how this map plays out, how these teams make their maneuvers, what players want to do with this one. Are they going to send this as hard as they can? Or are they going to try go for something a little bit more consistent? Certain teams don't have that luxurious choice. Melise Esports, they've just got to really take it to the max level. They've got to pull out the bandana, tie it around the back of the forehead, and go full Rambo in this game.
Giving it to the maximum is kind of the only opportunity you really have. I think playing timid, playing your cards close to your chest this late, when you know how bad it's gone with the overall point score, you've got to take a different approach. You've got to kind of turn up the ante a little bit, get a bit more aggressive, take more risks that potentially you otherwise wouldn't go for, and play for those picks, pay for eliminations, because there's room for it. I mean, if you're talking about Influence Rage as well, those 77 points, keep in mind, they only had the 1 chicken dinner over the course of that entire time, right? The rest of it was all elims. It was all just big games where they were constantly padding stats, constantly finding more and more opportunities to play off the back of the gun skill and build themselves a point score because of that. That's what you need to do. And we've seen prospects like that from a few of our teams today. Gladiators have looked a lot more lethal. They've looked like they're willing to take fights. Mad Bulls have been roaming a lot more. They had some big point scoring games in terms of their elims today, comboed with the free wins that we've seen over the course of the whole affair. But definitely a lot more room for Carnage, I think, at this point. Playing safe is going to win you no fans this late.
Sometimes you need that support from the backline as well, honestly, to really rev yourself up into these matches. For Gladiators, I'd agree with you. They look a lot more lethal coming into these matches, and I think the big thing, the big change at least for them, is this much faster gameplay, much faster rotational style, which does lead them to be making a fair few more mistakes, but it also leads to more variance in terms of getting those big matches. Before, they didn't really have a hope in hell of getting more than like 4 eliminations or maybe 1 or 2 placement points, which they realized is just not enough. And I think this year has been a year for them of just trying to perfect this new playstyle of heading center, getting these faster rotations working, and we saw it do fairly decently over in their region in particular. But they admitted themselves that it's a new playstyle for them. It's one that they're not super comfortable with just yet. Next year, likely, it's going to have a much bigger benefit for them. But they know they need to bring that playstyle out here in the final day of their group green in the survival stage to ensure they're able to get as many points as possible. They realize that they don't want to leave this up to chance like they did last year and just get pushed out in those final moments. Circle does move over towards that eastern side. Mad Bull's fairly happy with this one as they're holding over towards Puerto Paraíso. Quest moved up towards that northwest side and Los Leones as opposed to holding on that eastern coast. You can kind of respect the decision, but it has sort of shunted them out of play.
Feeling shorter? Yeah! I'm a Cairo. I'll show how to look taller. Hands up against the wall end. Back end out extended. And hold it. I'm a Cairo. 4 inches from the wall end. Hands up, heads up, bend it. And touch it. I'm a
Repositioning coming in from Reject Tokyo as they start to set their focus on
千岛湖，深圳版张家界之称的打。
taking a lot of damage. Engine smoking. His back's going to be up. Scared about what's going on around him, but they are still alive for now. Engine's now starting to burn as the jump at the vehicle. Saved by the car, as that will actually pluck Gladiators out of the air. Perfect timing on that. If it was calculated, that is magnificent, as they've been able to turn the tide on this fight. Gladiators look like they had the drop onto them and should have been able to take out OCO quite cleanly. Instead, they body block it and find the frags, fragmenting Gladiators down to just a 2, and they're quite far back. The trades on this aren't going to be easy, and Sara's already on the res.
Yeah, it's sort of a ridiculously aggressive play coming through from Gladiators as well, jumping out the window there with more vehicles in pursuit.
Shorter?
4v2
Yeah.
on the outside, you're likely just to get shut down, and an instant beautiful DBS shot takes down Matic in the process. In that situation, you just want to just hold in the building, right? Pull out the nades, try and get something done alongside with that, and then wait for the cover coming through from Kitsune and Tixi. You playing a 2-2 split, right? But you're playing it as if you're all 4 in that one building. So I really did not enjoy that play whatsoever from the Gladiators, and they deserve to have those 2 players get taken down in that process. So a bit of a split mentality in the team there. Now just 2 left alive. We know Gladiators do go for these quite frequent salvage games, but remember, 62 points. That still feels a little bit iffy at this stage of the game for the survival stage. I think, you know, for them, it's all about trying to get as many eliminations extra as possible now, as many extra placement points, because after this, they're done.
And that's the point we need to hammer home as well, you know, for the viewers at home, just so you understand the real influence of it. You won't have any more opportunities because, of course, you know, with 3 groups being mixed into the lobbies here, each of them getting exactly 2 days of play, you only have those 2 days. That's it. And your days are now expiring. This is the last game. So any points you find for yourselves here, sure, that's all said and done. But then you factor in the point we brought up on the desk, we brought up again here as well. Influence Rage already nearly have more points than our top teams after playing double the amount of games. And that is a terrifying position to be left in. If there's another squad that steps up massively as well, who knows how the final standings could be looking and which teams will progress when all is said and done. Lot riding on this. It's why this last game of Miramar needs to have some major moments in it. If you want points, you gotta get them now. So Gladiators, even down to just the duo, need to have a good game of it. Need to try and squeeze as much as they can get from this one, Blank.
Your sort of saving grace in this is that you just hope that Influence Rage can suck up so many points towards that top side of the lobby that 16th place bubble doesn't move that much, right? But with Mad Bulls not playing in, with DXavier not playing in, currently the 2 heavy hitters so far in this lobby as well, you know, I don't know how much that points vacuum is going to do for you. We will wait and see for tomorrow, but right now there is teams that needs to get a move on. Alter Ego, 43 points. Not safe at all here with only 1 player down, 3 players up. Also not another ideal scenario. Procedure Evos need to push this a little bit further too. Reject want more points on board. Currently though, their more consistent play style of trying to get towards that center arena, play off the back of that one, does seem to be working despite the horrid day they had yesterday.
And resilience there being the key part. Being able to have that mental fortitude of bouncing back and keeping your focus on, even if you are a little bit upset with what went down or what you left up to history. It always shows just how far you can go in these sort of events. MBEs here towards the ridge side. A little bit paranoid. You can see turning all around them, suspicious about where the fight is going to be coming from. It's DX down towards the coastline with support in the trees as well. Levi's from the side strikes, and that's perfect. They had baited the attention of the first man. Oh, with all their focus down the ridge on Lamborghini, Levi's just ruins them. 2 back-to-back 6 shots, and he's just chock-a-block full of confidence now. They want to go in blank. Parajin's hot behind the wheel as well, so he's going to be coming in to assess. They're swooping in. This should be a clean-up on them. They outnumber them 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a great play from DX overall, and you can see the quick flick decision in the sense of Levi sees that he's got 2 eliminations. I'm making the call now to push, but I'm going immediately. The rest of the team instantaneously responds, and this is just the communication you can tell going through from DX Xavier. Very difficult to talk about communication a lot of times, but easy to see in this situation with a quick response coming through from the rest of the team of DX Xavier, and exactly why we consider them to be one of the best teams in this survival stage so far. Parajin luckily hits that first aid kit just after the nade pops. We'll bring him back up towards 70%, and although they did get those first 2 initial knocks here, DX Xavier's not sure whether pushing the issue here is worth it or just getting further in towards a circle. Reject taking a fight of their own alongside with Inco and Enigma Galaxy. They look incredibly low though here with Reject trying to hold on. Nice nade from Sarah will finish off a lot of the boys from Inco, and now they are out down in 21st place. Their day of play is over until tomorrow. 21 points. It's not too bad.
Not the end of the world. Could definitely have been worse for them, and like you said, they've still got another day to try and slay. Meanwhile, there is a battle raging on inside of this building. Control of the house team, 4-4. Link, close quarters engagement. Peppers the bullets around the corner, but just as we see the push in, Shotgun Superstar here for Voodoo Alliance. Jumps out the window, looking for the close quarters finish on that one. Knows that Misery's close by. Knows that he's going to be pushed by Luxy as well, but didn't expect the nade from the heavens. They dropped that one on him and blow the bits. You do. Are able to clean up on that one and stay alive. Reset from the fight. Did lose a little bit to work with, but they'll still be pretty happy with how that's gone.
Yeah, it's a nice little play there coming through from Procedure Evos to hold on here, because they're certainly a team that needs to. Currently in 6th place, they want to get those numbers up a bit more. MBE Esports, honestly, for this team, 28 points up to 30 now on their first day of play. It looks fairly decent. Kitsune, last player alive now for Gladiators, well renowned for his survival in these squads, in these lobbies. See how much further he can get into this match though, because there's a lot of pressure on him. That will change.
Let me join your
situation. Apples also
I want to be a part of a
good
team.
game on this one over towards the western side.
I know.
2 eliminations so far too.
Not a fake. Help, help, help.
Everyone's on the move now. You can see the hyenas in the lobby realizing how many players are lurking around, how many points that translates to. Levi was 6 today. Really good with some of the shots that he's been landing. Here we try to play with time and waiting to push on in, supporting off the back of the contact found from Lamborghini. Taking those shots pretty cleanly, leaving us in a position where MBE are being dissected quite fast. The ego one, the picture view. They're also squatting. The 2 fights going down. Stereo battles occurring here as everyone is looking to lay claim to a compound and get themselves some extra elims to work with. FaZe have handled the situation. Again, Alter Ego suffering today as they are 4 points there.
Going forwards. Alter Ego is going to close their fingers now. Hope to God that no one is ahead of them tomorrow. Parajin drops out with this fire from top side, getting a good straight out, but not quite enough for DX Xavier handled them. And you can tell just the skill of it from DX Xavier off the back of this fight. To get the 2 inhibits, they use it. They have the well as well. See that good fight from the let's go grab the high ground ground in front of them. Whilst we've delayed them a lot here, the blue's going to push them in. They're going to have to move up towards us in this spot, and we can take them out later. So there's plans upon plans upon plans here for DXavier, and it's just nice checkpoint gameplay for them. Always having a good idea of what to come next and how to set themselves up best for it. So for DXavier, strong control on the south side, pretty much cleared out most of the deadly teams. It's just Nigma Galaxy as well as Reject ahead of them, who are both hurting in a big way. Nigma Galaxy down to 2, as are Reject.
A lot of damage. A lot of broken rosters already. So you're not fighting at full power. It means that things are going to get a little bit more slapdash. Some of the plays might be a bit more haphazard than we were potentially expecting. DX again, just looking for damage onto FaZe, firing bullets up. They've got nice cover here from the ridge side positions. They're going to be happy with that, playing around it. Al-Haji zoomed in, looking for feet from a substantial distance. And fair play, Al-Haji, good read. And perfect placement with the crosshair. Hits the shots onto Misery, and that is exactly what he's going through. A miserable way to go out as the zone will consume him. And he knows about Luxy Blank. He's sniffing him out and looking to punish. Mela will at least try and draw the attention his way. Easy. Might have a backstab on it. For now, though, this is looking pretty good for Quest. The high ground you've got to play with here is going to be nice for them. Makes a change for once.
Yeah, for Quest, realistically, it's now or never. They kind of need a chicken dinner on this match and a fair few eliminations off the back of it if they want to try and at least have some kind of chance to get in towards that last chance. I just don't really see it happening. Again, it was very last game for Quest over in the group stage. It could be the very last game for them here in the survival stage as well.
個人瞓醒咧，明顯精神好多，眼皮啦、面同埋小腿咧都冇咁浮腫啦。大家好，我係張美妮。大家都知道啦，香港嘅天氣咧真係。
Honor of Kings sigue sacando skins y tú te las estás perdiendo, pues no te preocupes, porque Eneva es la solución. Y es que sí, muchachos, Eneva nos tiene un tremendo ofertón en el cual no solamente vamos a poder conseguir
most teams attempting to hold on to this high ground on the edge as long as possible.
Al-Haji.
始まりました。松村さゆり、愛車を探す。
Room though. A lot of names, all close.
藤本お願いします。新しいアニメの方でベジータの声優が交代したそうですね。ドラゴンボール大までな。
今日は内田キャンチーが美容師さんするね。
なるほどね。じゃあ俺お客さんで行くわ。
ウィン。いらっしゃいませ。こちらのお席どうぞ。はいどうも。では二人で切っていきます。
一人で切っていける。なんで二人だ。
なあこいつめっちゃお前のことエロい目で見てたぞ。
That's up towards where we're seeing Quest play from. Quest that now engaged down on the road. Quick crash on NASA. Didn't expect to see this one as they go in for it. Full frontal assault in the building. Kante swinging Katana as he'll chop his way through the first with the shotty. Trade back by Star and Quest. It's slowing down for him blank. It needs to be a quick change of pace here. Al-Haji, he's used all his bullets. Has to quick switch to the secondary. Hits the shot on the drive-by and snatches it away.
5 elims at least on this game so far, up to 24 points total, but with 3 players, he looks a little bit hopeless at this point in time, but there is a chance off the back of that. There is teams all around them. They'll have to fend off against. FaZe currently trying to push in towards Mad Balls, trying to pick some more points at the end of their day of play. Frozen will pick up on Zenz as he spots some more players coming in. There is a jump out the window there as Frozen gets knocked himself. Moment is down. This is back and forth here. Mad Balls versus FaZe. 2 teams that incredibly well versed.
Enemy minions surprise.
Finished off, and of course it's Tulika to make it happen.
Big plays there, finally shutting down FaZe that have actually had a pretty sick day of it. They've had a lot of room to expand and take points. Even taking chicken dinners here today, so being able to stop them now and stop it expanding further into the last game of these 2 groups clashing will do wonders for you if you don't have another game to be played going into tomorrow. Evos, or at least just Luxy, the lurker, he's been making a wide rotate on this. Slowly but surely he's starting to stutter step his way up the back and does assault. Hits the first, looking for a follow-up as well it seems, as he's putting the pressure on the back of Quest. My man's in the compound.
For Luxy as well, he knows that any elimination point going forward is going to be so good for him. Drops one off towards the right side of the building. More Molotovs been sent through now. Able to pick himself up that flush towards Vahidan. Duxan is now out. 25 points on the day. But for Luxy, it's an important fight. Anywhere he can get further into this game is good for him, but there's walls in front of him. It's going to be very difficult to play off the back of. He opts just to send away here, but he'll be sending into very treacherous waters going forward, Jackie.
Oh yeah, you're going to need the Wellington boots, mate, because you are going to be knee-high in the murk. Oh, easy firing off shot after shot. Luxy tries to find safe haven behind the tractor. Oh, how's he alive?
He's done, yeah. Even if the bullet didn't hit him, the vehicle would have exploded and taken him out. But still, 4 eliminations. That 1 point he was able to accrue over towards Vahidan, and then a single placement point as well. That might be the difference between him going out in 16, him as his team, as well as just getting a more secure position towards that last chance. So Luxy has done an absolute phenomenal job for Procedure Evos. I think all fans of Luxy should be really proud of him going forward. In the meantime, Malise Esports, we were talking about them. They needed a big game. They're in towards one of the final circles. There's 7 teams still left alive, and it's Mad Balls going against DX Xavier. 2 of the big dogs in the lobby, currently biting at one another here.
That was a loud bark though, supersonic, as it would detonate the player in front of him. So Levi is now crawling away from the fight he's been thrown into. Zerich bombarding bullets, down to 60 in his reserve as well. So using a lot of that ammunition to just try and suppress and keep them locked in position. Nade cascades across. Zal Haji will be able to blow Fleek away. Al Haji, does he want to go for this one? He's trying to push further up the hill. Thought he had an opportunity to swoop in blank, but FS from so far away shuts down Quest and ends Al Haji before any more madness can continue. So DX are now the next on the chopping block, and Chulika is the chef. Comes in and hatchets his way through him with a DBS.
Big news there for Mad Balls. That almost certainly secures it for them. I mean, 99 points. Even less than that, I think, for Europe. They've been such a good standout for us, as well as Major Pride making it through in the first place. Frozen tries to step his way through, won't make it, but Reject be happy about this. More points on the board for them. Up to 5 eliminations on this match. Just Sarah and Luther remaining. 2 really cool players from the team. Sarah, who's been giving it his all this entire tournament. See how much further they can get here, but with N-Hyper finding Lufa on the frag, it's a little bit scary. Sarah can't quite go for the res just yet. Needs to find himself an elimination of his own, or at least a knock over towards Nigma Galaxy as another nade is primed in hand.
Freak throws out the nade. The smoke's blocking the pathway.
Come and say g'day to an epic Melbourne adventure.
Nice way to instigate.
From way up above to way down under. Explore more of amazing Melbourne with Qantas. So what are you waiting for?
And they're fairly fragmented.
December is packed with many amazing skins. From flawless to rare to free skins, every type of skins are coming this December in honor of Kings. Hey guys, Mist here. In this video, I'm gonna show you all the skins coming in this December. So,
and in the fight of the shotties, he will lose out. Good for 1, but not enough.
Almost had it there as well, and Coops does that with the pump shotty as well versus the DBS. Not an easy scenario to be in. Malise Esports looking for that big win, but Tulika, Zerich not done yet. The dynamic duo themselves coming through for the Mad Bulls. The 2 horns on the bull itself, looking to finish out this game here. But Malise Esports, they know how much this game means to them. It might be the difference between a 16th place and a 17th place for Malise Esports, and they get a few more eliminations on side. Up to 7 right now, and there's an opportunity to get at least 4 more here.
All of these squads right now are going to be gunning for this one. Worth its weight in gold with what it will do for your chances here in the survival stage. All of them need points. All of them need to solidify their chances. For 2 of the teams, it's their last damn attempt. For 1 of them, It's your opening game at the end of the first day. If there could at least be momentum in the camp of Nigma following this, maybe they can reset tomorrow, do a whole lot down more, but we'll have to see how it goes now. Right here, as Tulika tries to kick it off with the shotgun. Close range, sees the head, but can't remove it. Repositions, trying to play around Zerich now. A bit scared about the potential punishment that could be coming his way.
So,
remember,
let's check the skins, shall we?
For Mad Bulls. Only 2, as they are fighting a numbers game.
Hey guys, Mist here. Welcome back to another of my video.
As he got a bit too comfortable on this one.
Malice Esports played in a very aggressive lineup versus the front here, trying to absolutely suffocate these two teams in front of them. Desperate for this chicken dinner. They know how much it means to them, but they need every single point here. They have to squeeze every ounce of value out of this game. So for Malice Esports, this is them in their dying throes. For Mad Bulls, this is a glorified run towards the end of it. And like you said, for the boys on Nigma Galaxy, this is just an entrance into the conversation with the big dogs towards the top side. Malice Esports will finish off the Mad Bulls. Now just Nigma Galaxy, Freak and Coops to try and remain in this game, get themselves a chicken dinner.
The Malice Scorpions are on the move, scuttling their way towards the final few players. They get the angle on Freak, should be an easy spray down. Slays onto him, just as CEO later expires, the chicken dinner is secured, and Malice will grab the final chicken dinner of the day. And their final plays, Blank, being so influential, it might just make the difference. Now it's just in the hands of the other teams, but they've done all they can to guarantee bonus points at the end of their games.
Yeah, very, very tight here. Tighter than a yoga store for the guys on Malice Esports. I mean, they are going to be feeling very relieved after that last game. And I mean, it was now or never. We were saying at the start of the game that Malice Esports has to absolutely pop off them or Quest. I think that's 21 points on the game there. I think they currently had, I think it was 25 before this one. Yeah. So up to 46 points. Technically in a better position than Alter Ego, all things considered. Very, very surprising in that fact. But when it mattered most, Malice Esports were able to count themselves in with this last game.
一排放在这儿肯定丢不了。You know, at the end of the day, everything else that's
女人过了20岁就不要穿得像个孩子了。
办完事出来搬着就走，旁边一大哥吓一跳，这东西这么轻吗？我说泡沫的，泡沫的。大哥一低头，你他妈堵我车！
It is just so damn nice to have at the end of the day, because suddenly you're thrown a lifeline. And Malice Esports, we know they have them in him. Like, they're a good team overall. They were excellent in Turkey. It's just we didn't see that same firepower from them throughout this survival stage. It's just stressful to watch.
It was indeed. Some stressful games, some crazy plays, and non-stop shenanigans. These are all words that could describe Jason Kaplan as well. So let's head back over to the desk and see what they thought about the explosive games we've had today.
You also forgot about talented, handsome, tall, and all-around a good human being here, Jackie, as we're back to the desk with Max Van Colors. Keep a straight face. Come on, gentlemen. As we did see, Malice, a team that, of course, you said perfectly, of all the teams that Alter Ego do not want to see do well, was Malice. Was any of these teams at the bottom with 11 matches played, and Malice popped off here?
Yeah, the teams that have played now 2 days that were down there, those were the ones that, the teams that were effectively going to end up being on the cusp really did not want performing well. And Malice absolutely knocks it out of the park with this last one. They've been sort of non-existent, right, Max? For the past couple of days worth of their gameplay, but this was, as Blank says, the lifeline that they need. They might end up being a cusp team here. We'll see down the line, but it's the lifeline they need.
Over the course of 11 matches, Kalaris, they scored 25 points. They almost doubled 11 matches worth of points in a singular match with this chicken dinner, the 11 eliminations on top. Kisyu in particular, like, fantastic off angles to make sure he was securing that late game circle, to make sure that no players from Mad Bulls, no players from Nigma Galaxy could threaten that potential win. That is one of the most important chicken dinners you are going to see at this stage in PMGC. And as you said, Alter Ego at the bottom of the middle part of the rankings, they are crying after a team like Malice win that. Oh man, this is going to be rough.
Yeah, and it bears repeating, actually, the reason we're focusing on them is because they got, 44 points now across the 2 days, did Alter Ego. That makes them now the second lowest team that's played 2 days worth of games out of all of the teams, obviously the last being Quest, which is guaranteed done. So Alter Ego is not quite eliminated yet, not quite on the cusp yet. However, everybody else below them has only played 1 day, which is catastrophic for them potentially.
If you're that team now, you're just going to be watching tomorrow's matches and just, Influence Rage, please get 60 eliminations this match. Please just get every single win. I would love that, but I mean, there's a lot of chance that we will not see Alter Ego because 11th position right now on the rankings, they could slip down really quickly heading into tomorrow.
You know, I'm going to go ahead and say it. Melisse are the Turkish Gladiators, showing up exactly when they need to get to the next stage of the event here. Potentially, like we're saying, right? You still see all the teams on the right-hand side in 13th to 24th place, minus Quest. Only 6 matches played. But the problem is, going into tomorrow, as we said before, Group Yellow has had the strongest teams so far in this event. So it's going to be much more difficult here for any of those teams in 17th through 24th place to obviously rise up the ranks here. But it's going to be tough. I mean, if you're Alter Ego, if you're Melisse, if you're, I mean, a couple maybe potential other teams out there, you're going to be sweating bullets, obviously, with these 2 teams in particular. What all is going to happen tomorrow? And it's never a good position to be in when the fate's taken completely out of your hands and you just have to sit back and watch.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to fight for a top 16 spot when you got teams back in the lobby like Influence Rage, D+, Kia, BTR. Like, you're not going to have a lot of points available for those bottom teams, so it's going to be down to the wire. And of course, I mean, it's down to the wire because you've got the best teams in the world now, Jason. You're going to have top 16 down to top 5. Even the thing is, I'm even going further than just this stage of the tournament, right? Which is, sure, you might qualify in top 16. That's fantastic. GG, well played. I want to look for the teams that are competing for top 5 spot right now. Those are the teams that might have a chance to go into the grand finals because reaching last chance alone doesn't do much for you. At least you have the point reset, but you need to look a little bit further than that.
Okay, well, I believe we're going to be heading to the stage here for an interview, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure exactly who it's going to be with, or... Yeah, no, let's do it. Let's head to the stage and do it.
And we are back on the live stage at the Malaysia Battle Arena, Petaling Jaya. And with me, we do have, I'm the host, by the way, Choo Choo. We have the legendary Nate God. I call him the Nate God myself, which is going to be coming up from FaZe Clan Mela with us joining in. And one of the best Red Group's performance here today, other than Uni Alliance, FaZe is also getting the second highest score so far. Now, I have a lot of questions for this team right now. Thai teams used to be one of the greatest team in the world, arguably one of the best in the world, but now you are the only one remaining, which is going to be FaZe Clan in the PMGC stage. Now, can you share with us why is it very challenging for the Thai teams when it comes to this PMGC?
ก็คือว่าตอนนี้ไทยทีมเคยเป็นหนึ่งในทีมที่ดีที่สุดในโลกแต่ณตอนนี้ทีม FaZe Clan เหลืออยู่ทีมเดียวในการแข่งขัน PUBGC ช่วยแชร์ให้เราฟังได้ไหมคะว่าทำไมการแข่งขันครั้งนี้ถึงมีความท้าทายกับทีมไทยเป็นอย่างมาก
ก็ด้วยความที่สไตล์การเล่นที่เปลี่ยนไปจากรอบ C หรือว่ารอบภายในประเทศของเราครับก็ทำให้ทีมอื่นแบบไม่รู้รายการมูฟหรือว่าเล่นจากผิดจากที่เราคิดไปมากทำให้เราไม่สามารถปรับตัวได้ทันแต่ก็ต้องยอมรับว่าโซนลีกอื่นปรับตัวได้ดีกว่าเราครับ
Bella says because of our internal in our country they're changing their play their style so once they come here they cannot adapt it like other teams That's why it's make like challenging in this PWGC.
So it's more towards regional change that actually make a different sort of play in PMGC. They cost them quite a bit here. But with the only team coming up from Thai region, which is only FaZe Clan right now, do you feel pressured to represent the entire Thai region? And how do you yourself cope with it? And how does the team take it in?
คือตอนนี้เหลือทีมเราอยู่ทีมเดียวในการแข่งขัน PWGC แล้วเราก็เป็นตัวแทนของประเทศไทยเรามีความรู้สึกกดดันไหมคะในการเล่นครั้งนี้แล้วเรามีการรับมือกับมันยังไง
ก็รู้สึกกดดันบ้างครับก็เพราะว่าเราเป็นทีมไทยที่เหลืออยู่ทีมเดียวด้วยครับก็ต้องแบกความหวังจากทุกคนที่เชียร์ที่เป็นคนไทยครับก็จะทำให้เต็มที่ครับ
So for him, he feel a little bit pressure because as one of the Thai team remaining here, then all of everyone like maybe like expecting the team to get in.
don't cry. Don't cry, brother. You can do this. Come on. Okay. Also, when it comes to your playstyle, right? You mentioned about how you changed internally before, and now, if you compare with the group stage, it's such a drastic change between the group stage and the survival stage now for the side of FaZe Clan. What has changed within those days that make it such a good performance now for FaZe Clan?
มันเหมือนกับว่าตอนนี้การเล่นของเราเปลี่ยนแปลงไปอย่างมากจากรอบการแบ่งกลุ่มและรอบsurvival อะไรคือการเปลี่ยนแปลงนั้นที่ทำให้เรามีการพัฒนาการเล่นของเราดีขึ้นมากค่ะ
ก็ด้วยความที่ทั้งทีมปรับความเข้าใจกันแล้วก็คุยถึงวิธีการเล่นหลายๆอย่างนะครับแล้วก็ด้วยที่ศึกษาแผนด้วยกันครับพอนั่งดูย้อนหลังดูสไตล์การเล่นของแต่ละทีมที่ผ่านเข้ารอบไปแล้วก็มาปรับใช้ให้เข้ากับทีมตัวเองครับ
because of all the team, they communicating in the team and they change, they adapting how to play, how to what they miss and they improve it.
Hopefully they can keep it going because I do understand there's so much pressure, but you know what? Just do it. And also speaking of which, there's gonna be a lot of your supporters out there now. The supporters screaming as if you guys can hear this noise. But speaking of which, what do you have to say for all your hardcore fans, including me, for all the fans for Mela and FaZe Clan out there?
ตอนนี้ก็มีแฟนๆที่คอยเชียร์เราอยู่เป็นจำนวนมากอยากจะพูดอะไรถึงแฟนๆไหมคะ
ก็ฝากตามเชียร์พวกเราทีม FaZe Clan ในวันพรุ่งนี้แล้วก็รอบๆต่อๆไปด้วยนะครับก็ฝากตามเป็นกำลังใจเชียร์ด้วยนะครับขอบคุณมากครับ
Please continue to cheer him and supporting him for tomorrow and the next day for this PMWGC.
Just 2 days, not until grand final, no?
After this also.
After this also. Not just within these days, okay? But, you know, things get a bit rowdy here. I think it's a day for us. We're going to wrap things up here on the live stage. We're going to toss it back to the Carters, read out the stats and data. Have fun, guys, and see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
A lot of pressure on his shoulders soon. Obviously, the team's shoulders trying to represent Thailand and do the country well. But there's still a long ways to go here. Not only tomorrow's matches, but of course, they make it into the last chance. And then to get top 5 there, which is going to be insanely difficult considering the caliber of teams we have. But to end things off on the day, Tulika, 23 eliminations leading the charge by Levi's. As we heard Jackie talking about putting in some serious work when it came to damage.
Yeah, maybe going to have ourselves a Mad Balls MVP after that one with Tulika. But they've been working a little bit on that consistency, Jason, that we mentioned a bit yesterday. It's still a bit topsy-turvy from time to time. They got a win followed up with a 15th place. But when they get a good game, they get double-digit eliminations pretty much every time. And that is going to be so valuable for also the last chance stage. I think that they might just make in top 5 here. But no, it's not Mad Balls play, actually. It's a play from UD Alliance. Oh, okay.
Those 2 Erangel games worked out, huh?
Seems like it, huh?
Yeah, they had a whopping, 1,000 damage on the one that they actually ended up taking. He had that chance for that potential 1v1 up against Procedure, but obviously it didn't work out for him. I think it's Procedure, right? If not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some tough times for obviously a lot of teams out here. Unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye to one of them already, which will be Quest, as they are unfortunately outside the bubble and have 0 matches left to go. But you know what? At least for them, they can still say they're one of the best teams in the world, and they can take all this experience and come back next year, hopefully stronger. Right, Max?
Yeah. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm telling you right now that Al-Hajj one day is going to come in this PMGC or PMWI, and he's going to pop off. I don't know when, I don't know which year or decade, but it's going to happen eventually, Jason. I believe in Al-Hajj.
Do you believe, Chorus?
I'm a cup half full kind of guy. No. We'll see them again for sure. They just need to kind of book up their ideas a little bit and get it going. But something you were saying earlier, Jason, though, about FaZe, obviously we just heard from them in the interview, right? I think you're right on the money with, will this performance get them to the last chance qualifier? Yes, but the last chance qualifier, you cannot bring this same performance there. You can't just wait for circles to come to you and just get a few limbs here and there cheekily to kind of round things out. You need more than that. You need big wins if you want to get top 5 in the lobby that is going to come from that.
Right now, when I'm looking at the leaderboards and teams in the top 5 that I'm expecting to go, right now I've got Mad Balls and Influence Rage. Outside of that, I'd say there's still a lot of room for other teams to compete for that one. Like, it seems like D+ Kia could do a better improvement. Same for FaZe, Procedure, Evos, etc. that could be up there. So I think that right now, top 5 has still got a few spots that are going to be heavily contested once we head into the last chance.
BTR? Hello, you didn't even mention them.
BTR too, okay. There's too many teams, okay, so it's just to say there's a lot of teams competing for that spot, Jason, but okay. Do I have to list them out one by one?
No, that's good. That's all we needed from you, Max, and that's all we needed from you guys on the desk. But before we can head off the day and obviously come back tomorrow, once again, our official smartphone provider here at PMGC, the Infinix GT10 Pro, all of our pros are participating on it because it was bored for them. And we'll see if they can use that to carry themselves through into the last chance stage, kicking off in 2 days of time. And of course, while they do have that slight break tonight, they're probably going to be on TikTok looking up the tag PMGC 2023 to see some behind the scenes stuff, potentially some highlights of themselves and the great plays they're able to pull off. And you guys can of course go there as well. And if you ever do post about the show, make sure you use the hashtag PMGC 2023. But that's going to round out our show. We have 1 day left. Group Green, unfortunately, have to sit by the side tomorrow and watch all the matches unveil. That means we have a little bit of time off. We'll be back tomorrow to kick off Red versus Yellow to find our 16 teams advancing through into the final last chance stage. And we'll see you guys then for some more PUBG Mobile action.